Hey guys, this is Donnie with Standing Goats Rescue. I've had 3 encounters emailed to me that people have had, but all 3 of them had a pretty good amount of vulgar language in it, and I asked the writers if they would take and reword them and remove the vulgarity. Well, one of them responded to me and said he'd work on it. Well, I got his encounter, and it's a serious encounter, but the way that he wrote it, it is, I got tickled over it, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. But I'm going to share that one with you now. He couldn't tell me the entirety of the small details because he said there was so much cursing he couldn't reword it and remove the foul language. But he's an older guy, and he asked me not to share his name or his son's name, so we're not going to do that. You guys look bad. The goats are eating their feathers. The feed, they get in the feed buckets when we feed the goats, and the goats eat the feathers to get the feed out. But anyhow, we're going to carry on and go ahead and get this story to you so you guys can sit back and hopefully you enjoy this as much as I have. And I'm going to read it to you as he wrote it, or his niece wrote it for him. He said he has problems writing. And it starts out like this. Sorry about the background noise. January 12th, 2020. My 30-year-old son drove with me to our fish camp on the Warrior River in northern Alabama. We were tearing down the old cabin to make space for a large shed I bought recently. I gotta pause it. Got an ambulance coming. Stand by. Okay, sorry about that. I think we just had an accident down the road. Alright, I'm going to carry on. We had to disassemble the cabin so as to salvage the old 4-pane windows to install into the shed. The shed will become the cabin's replacement. At about straight up noon, we had the windows removed and the roof, so we drove off down the road to the cafe Bait and Tackle to grab some victuals. Phone rings in the middle of us eating dinner, and it was the young man delivering my shed. He got to camp a few hours early, and I told him to go take a break and wait for me to get there. Do not dump the shed until we finish breaking down the cabin, because that's where he was going to put my shed. We went on and drove back to the camp so to get the cabin broke down and loaded on the dump trailer. I was fired up mad when I got there and found that my cabin was flipped on the side. Well, I called that boy and told him he was coming over there and he was going to bust out some tools and start tearing that cabin down, since he turned it over trying to move it. I figured he was going to move the cabin and dump my shed because he was hurried to leave. He started making excuses, so I threatened to snatch him through that phone if he didn't get here right now. That cabin was put together with 12-inch carriage bolts on the corners, so we can't take the other 3 walls down with it laying on its side. Yep, I was mad as a wet bobcat. I'm sorry, guys. That boy drove up and jumped out of that truck saying, "No, sir, I didn't touch your stuff, and I didn't get out of my truck either." We was trying to figure how that cabin got turned that way, and I just knowed that boy pulled it with his truck, but he swore to me a bunch of times that he ain't did nothing at all. That cabin is small, only 10 feet across and 18 feet front to back. And I already took out the beds, the coffee pot table, the refrigerator, and deer chest, and those old floppy chairs. But it was still too heavy for a couple of big boys to lift. Probably 1,500 pounds, I reckon. The woods is close to the side and the back of the cabin, so ain't no way to fit in the shed unless the trees get cut. That's why we was tearing it down. Over behind the cabin and about half a ball field in the woods was something that hollered loud, and I'm talking ear-busting loud. My son and that boy just stared over there and was saying, "Did you hear that?" And I'm telling you, everybody in 10 miles heard that. Curse words was flying, and I can't tell you what all of us were saying because it was a bunch of cursing. The other side of the four-wheeler shed was another one of these hollering things, and it was almost loud as this one. The four-wheeler shed is next to the cabin, so we can keep watch on the four-wheelers when we spend the week up there. This second one that hollered was probably about 2 ball fields farther towards the river. I guess he's talking 100 yards, unless it's a baseball field, and I don't know those measurements. My son told me he was getting back to the truck to grab hold of the old single 12 gauge. By the time he walked 5 feet, we could hear the trees crashing as something was running fast, coming to us right away. I can guarantee you that you ain't never seen nothing like this. This half man and half bear looking animal busted out of that underbrush like a freight train, and it stopped on 2 feet, staring straight at us. He was mad, I can promise you that. He was a big one, probably about 7 feet tall, and he was covered up with half-long hair that was black as tar everywhere but the top of the head. It was silver and black. He was a man bear because he didn't have no clothes, and his package was right there for us to look at. I'm sorry, y'all. We was all scared now, and that boy tore off to his truck. My son was saying over and over, "Come on, Pop, come on, Pop." Well, I hunted bears for probably 40 years, and one thing you don't ever do is run away with your back to it, because it makes them attack. But this wasn't no regular bear. It was some human part too. I never been so scared in all my life. I couldn't go. My body was locked in park, and that man bear was snarling like a mad dog. And then he hollered again, and another one came out by the four-wheeler shed real slow. And this is the one that was the daddy or the big brother. He was bigger than the first one, probably over 8 feet. He was the color of a early season buck, a dark brown with some black mixed in. This was when I was about to be killed by these man bears. I just know it. I don't go to our church house no more since Brother Josh went to jail for doing stuff with young people, so I thought I was getting punished for not going. You don't think about praying when you get busy all day, but I was saying, "Please, Lord, help me. Please help me," a bunch of times. He heard me. These man bears turned to the woods and eased back in. They was gone, and we was too. This is all my story of when we saw the man bear. You probably don't think I'm telling you the truth, and that is okay with me, because we know what we saw that day. I got my sons and my brother's boys, and we cleaned up that camp. I called the lease company and told them I won't be applying for the lease no more. I didn't tell her what we saw, because she would say we was crazy. I said I'm just too old to be going camping no more. I'll tell you one thing, you think I'm telling fibs, then come look at besides my house. There is my four-wheeler shed and that new shed that was going to be the cabin. My niece told me to mail you this story. I don't write so good, so she did this for me. I didn't mean no harm when I told the story with the curse words. I was just saying exactly what I remember. We was all cursing like a drunk when that happened. I had to leave some parts out because I got a nasty talk sometimes. I'm sorry if y'all got mad. I don't care if you want to tell some folks what happened to us, just don't tell our name. I don't know what that delivery boy's name is, so I don't reckon it can do no bad to him. Oops, another ambulance. Sorry about that. If you come fishing on the Warrior River, you best not go on the bank. That's all the advice I can tell you. See you down the road sometimes. Signed, story from Pop, my son, and that boy on the Warrior River Fish Camp. Guys, I didn't mean to get tickled, but the way he was wording things, he's got a fantastic story. And you people that have had encounters, you know how horrific it is, and it does scar you. It leaves a lot of damage mentally and spiritually to you. Emotionally, it does things to people in different ways. And I can attest to what it's done to me. And it'll probably take me a lifetime, the remainder of my life, to get over it. And I couldn't imagine what he's going through. He's much older than I am. I don't know if he wanted his age told. In the first email he did tell me, and he's got some age on me. But anyhow, I don't know if he reads the comments. I don't know if he's even on YouTube, but his niece is. Stand by. I'm sorry about that. That's been four fire trucks. We probably have another forest fire. But anyhow, as I was saying, if you guys are going to comment, please be respectful. It doesn't matter that this man curses. I assure you, he's lived long enough that he has the right to say whatever he wants to say. Just respect him, and if you have any advice, I'm sure his niece will pass it on to him. I appreciate you guys joining us. Thank you for being part of this family. And as soon as the other two encounters arrive, or any new ones, I will be posting them. I'll narrate them to the best of my ability. I don't talk so good either, but I don't curse. I just got a wore out mouth, I reckon. Well, y'all have a good day. God bless each and every one of you. And until next time, be safe. Dory, come here, girl. You gonna tell him bye? No, you want your face rubbed, ain't you? She loves you to rub the side of her face right there. You're gonna fall down, girl. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.